All right, we are live on Twitch, we are live on YouTube, and we're live on DM Evanson's Twitch. This is our Sunday morning Dungeons and Dragons talk in the world of Eryndor, where our brave adventurers have come across some interesting creatures from the Monster Manual. We fought a gelatinous cube, which was actually horrifying. We came across some harpies, which was surprisingly hard. And in a previous week, we fought a giant constrictor snake, which I thought was going to be easy until we found that it could burrow under the ground and kind of get to the soft and squishy characters in the back. So I'm here with Dungeon Master Evanson. He is on Instagram as DM_Evanson. You can find him. I'm here with the Dead Professor Scott, my fellow Dark Alchemy compatriot. We can find us on Dark Alchemy Limited at Instagram. And so let's get right into it. Sunday morning live, fighting the gelatinous cube. But first, I'd like to acknowledge Dungeon Master Evanson. He got me this Wizarding Cup here, Warning Unsupervised Wizard, which I'm really enjoying. We'll put that on there because it even matches my little guy, right? He's got the same hat and stuff. And it made me feel really powerful, Dave.
Accurate subtitle.
Unsupervised Wizard. Yeah, I do feel some chaos.
Yeah, Dave, I did see that. So, as soon as I saw the title, I was like, wow, that's perfect. Because we're always joking about you going off on your own. So,
I guess
like a wizard this time, I thought it was perfect.
Yeah. I love it. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to add this little video here. We are in our own world of Eryndor. The known lands, and we're going towards the City of Hope. Dave, can you kind of bring us in how we got over there?
Oh, yeah. Well, we started in the main city of Leon, and you picked up basically a job through some of the nobles and the Obsidian Circle, who basically is, the Lord's second hand, the council. And they gave you a job of some to investigate a city that supplies most of the grain for the region. Has not been delivering, and deliveries in the past were coming less and less, and they're concerned, and they needed you to look into it. So you set off to investigate. And as you got closer, you started seeing some wagons of people fleeing, and they had their own rumors and suspicions and reasons for why they were leaving the city, or village, I should say. And as you got closer, you got more and more suspicions and rumors of the village of Hope.
All right, so we did get the Hope, and we did some investigations, and we found out that there might be some mind control going on. So we went a little bit north to where the cultists or where the evil creatures that are mind controlling, and we started to explore a dungeon. And I'm enjoying the classic dungeon crawl. We're level 4, and we're coming across some monsters, and we're really putting out a map where now this map we printed, a friend of ours printed, and we can kind of see some of the areas to explore, but we're really actually crawling through the dungeon step by step, and I haven't had that in a long time. Scott, how do you feel about that, the actual dungeon crawl?
I'm loving the dungeon crawl. I love the fact that we've gamed long enough that we can kind of not metagame, that we can see the rest of the map, but we're upgrading the gaming room now. So I just bought the top-down projector.
Okay.
So Dave will be able to project the live map and hide the parts we can't see, which I think will add even more to the immersion, because I know how much we're having fun doing the exploration part. And as much as we're not paying attention to the map, it's like, oh well, there's another way to get there. Your brain still sees it. So having
still
that
sees
fog
it.
of war.
The fog of war, the fog of adventure.
That fog of war with the rest of the map concealed will really just bump it to the next level. So
that's a good point. Especially on like the smaller rooms that are clearly like a closet or something, and you're like, I guess we should search there, but like there's probably nothing too valuable, or
if you see a small room,
or it's clearly not the way you want to go because you're trying to get to the other end of the dungeon or something. So there is a little.
Hey, but that small room had incredibly valuable wine in it.
That's true. That's very true. But that's why I do like when people stop and search things. So.
And this dungeon is bringing back the age-old dungeon issue, right? So we spent a day walking through, or 2 days walking through a swamp to get here, right? We had to leave our horse and wagons behind. how do we get everything out, right? When we were kids, it was just like, we take everything, pile it in our backpacks and go. But
Yeah.
now we're like, there's barrels of wine and casks
Yeah.
of this and, all this valuable stuff. And we're like, we can't carry that through the swamp.
Yeah.
I guess when you're younger, you say, "Oh, I found 14 long swords. Great." And like somebody's just carrying like 14 swords. These should sell pretty well, right? I want to make lots of money.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you're like, wow, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the dungeon was laid out well. We're going to jump into the Gelatinous Cube right now as the first monster we're fighting. But I do want to say, Dungeon Master Evanson, you did modify it. So we went in. We came across guard barracks, and then we came across food stores, and we came across guards. And some of the monsters were in other parts of the dungeon a little bit farther away. So I do like the organization. There is a book called The Monsters Know What They're Doing, which gives some tactics. And when I was growing up playing some of the older modules, like there was one called Chateau de Amberville, Castle Amber. I mean, every room was just a different monster. And you're like, why are the goblins next to the orcs, next to the dragon? Wouldn't they, fight and, fight each other? But this dungeon was much more organized. There was some traps. The monsters kind of kept in their one corner and they weren't running free. The Harpies specifically had an exit that they flew out of. They're not going through the dungeon. They're flying in the top and they're going out that way. And it made a lot of sense. So I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
So
and, the other minions had even an X on the on the door where the Harpies were to even warn the other minions not to go in there.
Oh, really?
They were going to eat that X was they were going to eat whoever went in there.
Yeah. So those they know.
When we were younger, we did the Drow the Giants Adventure G1 through 3, right? And we got to the fire
against the Giants. Yep.
Right. So when we got to the Fire Giant Adventure, we had gotten to like 14 years old, I guess, and our DM suddenly was like, "Wait, why are these fire giants going to just sit in their room while you guys beat up their friends next door?"
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So
it
became a siege, and it was the most miserable slog ever because it was like they were putting up barricades. So you got a party of 7 adventurers fighting like an army of giants who were defending their hallway with like fallback points and barricades.
It's
and
great.
Like, what the hell are we doing?
Exactly.
Stealth is important.
That's great. That's one thing I do like about some new adventures, but a lot of the older adventures were would put like, hey, if a battle breaks out in the nearby rooms, they will join their friends. They will hear, they can hear from this room or whatever.
Right. And
I always
really
like
early
that.
ones didn't. Yeah, the really early ones didn't do that. And he did it, and it just made it awful.
Yeah.
So let's move forward. So we're entering the dungeon. The monk took out some guards, as we can see. We can kind of see the one guard laying down. I don't think he killed them. We're trying to these people are mind controlled, so we're not trying to just whack them. And then over by number 7 here, we see the Gelatinous Cube appear as we're starting to search. And we have this cool miniature, which we did not 3D print. This is what you can buy. The actual inside of it pops out, and you can put a miniature in there to show that they're actually captured.
Engulfed.
And I think, Dave, you said it can hold up to 4 people.
I believe the actual miniature can't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I believe he can hold up to 4 medium-sized creatures.
All right, so we'll roll forward. Let's see, we'll roll forward a little bit more. We are rolling forward here. And so it's going to come around the corner, and let's.
One large or 4 here. Medium or small.
Okay, yeah. So let's put that up. Let me see if we can get that up there. Let's see. The dead professor has. I have to take this down first. Sorry about this. Remove that, and let's see if we can add this to the stage here. So yeah, we're looking at the Gelatinous Cube. Comes around the corner, and I believe it engulfed Kumo. Okay, so Kumo the monk came around the corner. He got hit right away
because he was our scout.
Yeah, he was stealthing around.
Walked into it because he failed his perception check.
Oh, is that the thing?
Well, I have everybody's passive perception on my DM screen. So unless you guys are like actively looking for traps or something, or like I'm really looking, and you say you're looking, then I'll have you roll.
No,
otherwise
I
your
like
passive perception is your looking while you walk. You know.
Yeah. So transparent. Even when the cube is in plain sight, a creature must succeed at DC 15 perception to notice, or otherwise act. So I guess his passive must just be under that, right? I don't know.
I do. They are a fairly easy creature to fight early on, so I bump them up a little bit. I usually give like a +1 to the hit, +1 to usually the DC, and then HP. I usually just whatever their Gelatinous cube is 6d10 +30, so I usually either take the average or take the highest that they could have rolled because there's a lot of people.
Okay, so that's an interesting question. So average hit points 63. This one could go up to 90.
Yeah.
So you can have a 90 hit point. So what did you actually do, Dave? Did you
70?
Yeah, but 70. All right, I like that. So that's
and we have a larger than average party, so you have to remember when Dave's figuring out CR is based on a 4-player party. We have 6. So we're 50% larger just by default.
Yeah. And if you were fighting just this, maybe I would have gave it 90. But I had those other 2 guys, minions, jump in that were supposed to help.
Literally jump in, Dave.
Yeah. But
So the cube's going down the hallway. Kumo's there. And then at some point, it's passing barracks. So it's actually, there's a couple of barrack rooms. Those guards open up, and then, as a good dungeon master, you said, what are these guys doing? They're guards. What's their passive perception? They ran right into the cube. Yeah. So that cube was getting pretty filled. And it was our Dragonborn already sucked into it at that time too?
Yep. So Dragonborn got swallowed and 2 of the guards.
Yeah, so we had the Dragonborn inside, and
I had every intention of going the other way, but you guys filled up the hallway past its movement because it only has a 15-foot movement. So it's slow going. And as you can see, the hallway towards the stairs is all filled as you guys got further in. So I really only had one choice.
Yeah, because we were fighting at the intersection right by 8.
Yeah. But it was good. It was unexpected, but
yeah. So let's take a look at the cube. So we're saying, why don't you, Scott? Why don't you go over the cube, kind of, how to fight it, what we did.
Sure. So it's immune to acid. Obviously, that's its base attack type. It has no eyes. It's immune to blind. It's a ooze, so it can't be charmed or deafened. It doesn't have exhaustion, frightened, or prone. It has blind sight, so the darkness in the dungeon doesn't matter to it. And basically, it fills the square, like Dave said. And if you move into its square, it automatically tries to engulf you, and you have to make the dex save to avoid it. Mm-hmm. Or if it moves into your square, you have to make the dex save to avoid it, as long as there is room inside it for another creature. The dex save's not super hard. The base one is 12. I think Dave made it a little harder to make it a slightly higher CR.
Yeah.
It starts doing 3d6 acids damage once you're engulfed every round on the end of your turn, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look at that acid damage for a minute.
Start of the cube's turn, and then on your turn you decide what you want to do.
Scott, let me stop you there. Let's take a look at the acid damage. So Dave, you were doing 10 points, which is the average?
Yeah, 3d6. Average is 10. I usually start off as 10 base, and then once it starts taking a little bit of damage, I usually just roll it. It also depends on how the flow of the battle's going, if it's need to speed it up or not.
So my wizard, I think I either have like 38 or 42 hit points. And I think I took a cut. I was already like a little damage. Yeah, so 4 rounds in a cube and I'm done. I mean, I'm dissolved at level 4.
I was hoping for that.
Dragonborn probably has a few more hit points. He was in there for a little bit. What were the guards' hit points?
They were in the 30s, mid 30s.
Okay, so 3 rounds for a guard, and they're just skin and bone, right? And floating weapons and
then 1 round for the commoners. The 2 commoners ran into it and instantly died.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So they ran in, and then they actually were ejected once, or not ejected, but technically now they don't count. I can hold up to 4 creatures. There's 2 in there. They get dissolved. They're done. So now
he spit them out, basically, the bones, to represent that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And we
had more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, the cube was good, and
gotta maybe get like a whole room full of like 20 of those things.
so we had a this is Sparta moment.
Yeah.
Gil was
good.
out. I think I used my divination magic to give him what I do. I gave him it was an opposed strength roll, and I gave the cube a 1. I had a 1.
Yes.
So and Dave, you actually had rolled 4 1s.
Yeah, I rolled it for all all my minions saving throws or dex throws to not be sucked into the cube or to break out of the cube. Yeah. It's like, okay, they're meant to die here.
Yeah, they got sucked in,
and then the dice tell the story, as they say.
And then Gil pushed one in. He gave it a kick. It went into the cube and kind of caught him in there.
Great.
And then we ended up we beat it up a little bit. I shot some fire at it, and then we did how did we finish?
I shot some lightning and hurt the people inside.
Yeah.
Oh, so Dave, why don't you talk about that? I shot fire, didn't do any damage to people. It was full up. And then
it was a full health. So I and it was only, I think at the time, maybe 1 or 2 people. Being that it could hold up to 4, I imagine there's some thickness between its outer wall and the people inside. So once it starts losing health, I like to think it's shredding off fat or blobs or whatever, ooze. It's a little easier to hit the people on the inside.
Jelly.
Also, yeah, jelly. But also the same thing goes for electric. I figured that goes through it real easily. I do the same thing for smothering rugs. If you were to smacking a smothering rug that's wrapped around your friend, they're going to take a portion of that damage as well.
Yeah. So you're kind of deciding on the moment. There's no real rules for that. This is just as a good dungeon master, you're kind of taking a real world application. Okay, lightning will go through, fire. Okay, maybe not the first round, and you actually even said like the fire is getting closer and closer, and you have all this jelly in between. Eventually, it's going to burn through it and it'll hit the person.
Yeah.
So how? Let's see. What's the resistances to the cube here? Does it have some resistances?
It's only immunity to acid. It has no resistances, so it takes full damage from everything.
So what's it called? Bludgeoning, slashing. We're not worried about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, 2024 has done a lot of calming down of resistances.
Oh, really?
Yes. Everything used to be resistant to something, and they have toned that down a lot. Now, immunity to acid makes perfect sense here, but in the I have the 2014. I can look it up, but they've just done that because one of the issues people had with the previous Monster Manual 2014 was that fire resistance was super common and poison resistant was like 75% of the monsters in the Monster Manual.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So if you had a rogue who wanted to use poison, unless you're using it on other people.
Yeah, that was one thing.
I help him in a dungeon.
That was one thing I noticed when we played our old campaign with Chris. And he had that poison dagger. I was like, God, everything's immune to or resistant to poison. I was like, wow, I didn't really realize that.
That's been a big change. They tried to balance out resistances a little better. And in the old 2014, I think there was like almost nothing that was resistant to force damage. Force was just the go-to. You can always use it and always be safe.
Yeah, like that in Radiant.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying 5th edition. Dave, we were actually discussing earlier before we got live on the stage here. You said that the updating on D&D Beyond, there's some issues.
Break it. We got some news.
Oh yeah, let's see. That's right. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, let's do my breaking news. Ready, guys? Okay, Dave, why don't you tell us about this breaking news about the problems that D&D Beyonders have and some of the issues that come up if you're not planning and look it up in a spur of the moment.
Pretty well established on the internet right now between Reddit and Blue Sky and more importantly YouTube. Everyone is complaining about the lack of update on D&D Beyond on their infrastructure and the search engine. Between if you Google search a gelatinous cube, sometimes you'll get the old monster will pop up first, and the Google search engine, which normally didn't. But even when you go to the D&D Beyond and you go to the drop-down menu, it's not really pulling up the new set of rules first, or it will pull up the old monster from the 2014. It doesn't. It should use the new rules first, and it's not all. Some of them do, not all of them. I don't know if this is something that they are actually working on or going to fix, or they care to fix, or
if you want to share my screen, Roy. So this is what I see. Like I just searched Fire Giant. Now this is in D&D Beyond, not in Google. So I just searched Fire Giant, and the first thing that comes up for me is Fire Giant Monster Manual 2024.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Excuse me one second.
I don't know. Again, I don't know if they've addressed this yet, but
we have remove and add the stage. Here we go. All right.
So I just searched Fire Giant, and it comes up and tells you, but now and then the second thing that comes up is the Legacy Fire Giant 2014.
Yeah. So if you type in
and
Goblin,
all the other ones.
If you type in Goblin, the Legacy pops up first, and then Goblin Hexer, and then Goblin Warrior.
I see what you're saying.
So like that's just one example, but there's a lot of others. And it's not so much a big deal for maybe the monsters, but when you're looking for some of the rules,
you know why is because Goblin is not a creature in the 2024 Monster Manual,
which is even more.
What is
there
it?
There is no just Goblin; it's different types of goblins. Goblin Hexer, Goblin Warrior is your base.
Yeah.
Goblin Boss, Goblin Minion is your low level. So because there is no Goblin, the old one is showing up first. That's interesting.
I know, but that's just for new players.
Oh, super interesting. Yeah, it's going to be confusing.
Yeah, it's going to be confusing. For anyone who's like picking this up and trying to figure it out, they're going to get a little confused, and then maybe the players are like, "Hey, that's not the right rules," and then they're like, "What do you mean it's not the right?" And then I can see the confusion at the table already, but you know, a veteran player would see that a little easier. But I think also for not just the monsters, but I think for like abilities as well, and or items and stuff like the new stuff wasn't coming up right away. So what mainly a lot of people were saying was that either they need to have a on and off feature, which you could include the old stuff.
Legacy,
So when you're searching, you don't even have to bother. I'm sure there's a advanced search thing, which I think is even more annoying. I think you had to go somewhere for advanced search. I don't even remember how to do it.
Go to here, I think.
But there is a way to actually turn off Legacy, I think. But it's not obvious enough to hit. Like it should be right there. Like hit a button, right on the front screen. Yeah, exactly.
So
which
here
is not,
you can go
which is
advanced filters, right? And you can turn off Legacy.
Yeah, and so it's quickly looking something up. No, it's going that way.
So I mean, if you're running a game, you really got to prep a little bit. And when I run it,
game prep, and it makes looking things up on the fly a little annoying.
Yeah, I tried actually. I like the paper printing. I like to have a couple sheets of paper when I do the monsters, especially if I know that they're definitely fighting a certain monster, and I can actually jot down on that piece of paper, initiatives or hit points or something like that. But I mean, if you have stuff planned and all of a sudden the characters go a different direction, and you're like, oh well, this monster would be here, and they're like, oh, let me just look it up. I didn't expect them to go this way.
It certainly makes it more difficult for running something on the fly. Random encounter or anything like that.
Another speed bump that now it's like, well, now I'm just gonna bring the book and not gonna use the site anymore because it's an extra thing I got to deal with.
Well, it's always good to have your book. You have to have your monster manual.
That's right.
Readily available.
That's why we got the shelf right next to Dave with all the books.
Yeah. Right. So we came around the corner, and we searched the dungeon a little bit. And we ended up coming to a part of the dungeon that had a big X. Was I able just to add that? I just froze up a second. Okay, so
there you go.
So in this part of the dungeon, we're exploring. We came to this room. It had 4 columns, and as we entered, we heard some music, classic Ulysses siren song. It's been years and years since I fought Harpies in the game, which is what I'm also enjoying about the dungeon crawl. I haven't seen half these creatures in years. We have some nicely painted miniatures from our friend Bob. Painted these up, or Dennis?
These are done by Bob.
Okay, these are Bob's paint. I'll get a close-in shot. So yeah, so I think so. Tell us about this a little bit, Dave. We heard a song, and once again, Kumo's leading the way. He's getting sucked in cubes. He's getting.
This was a great encounter setup, Dave. So
yeah,
I don't know how much was the module and how much was you, but it's fantastic.
A little bit of the module, a little bit of me. They had it set up in a similar fashion. It was a little more brutal because this is coming, I think, first edition D&D for some of the stuff. So I had but let me backtrack. So when you walk in the room, you hear the song. You have to make a DC Wisdom saving throw, 15, or be basically enthralled, which are charmed. But it's not a normal charm.
Yep.
It's
not a normal type of charm like certain people are immune to it, like elves and stuff.
Well, I think you would still be immune to a charming effect, but it has additional effects.
Okay.
Not just
the sheet's up if you want more.
So, let's take a look at that sheet here.
The luring song of the Harpy is a magical melody. And failure makes you get the charm condition.
Okay.
And you get to repeat your saving throw at the end of each of your turns, but while you're charmed, you are incapacitated and condition, and you must go towards the Harpies. So most direct route, trying to get within 5 feet of them, you're like compelled to almost do it.
Yep.
So that's the only difference. You don't avoid opportunity attacks while you're doing this, which is even brutaler. If you if you did your normal movement, and I had several bad guys, you would do 30 feet. You would take all the attacks of opportunity, and at the end of your turn, you would roll to break out. So would you roll right away? Actually, would you take damage? Would you roll right away?
Each time you take damage. Well, on a normal charm, I think it's each time you take damage.
Yeah, which I think you still do on this one.
Whenever it takes damage from a source other than the Harpy.
Yeah.
Other than the Harpy.
So that's
Harpy
interesting. That charmed you can hit you as much as it wants.
Yeah. You either could take the opportunity attacks through people that it's pulling you through, which may cause you to save, or you bring it to you and then they attack you to death.
Right.
So Dave,
other Harpies could wake you up.
Yes.
Two key things here. One is maybe three things. One, the opportunity attack from the Harpy that charmed you. Two, the DC you raised up from 11 to 15.
Yes.
For a level 4. It makes sense because otherwise really nobody gets.
I mean, it's CR1, the very level 1 fighter creature.
So you upped them. I'm okay with that, though. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I had.
And then the other thing,
I think everybody should, within reason. Now if you deal with a Harpy at level 20, it shouldn't be making you do a DC 18 save. But if you're dealing with it for the first time and you're running into it at level 20, well, maybe it is because you never dealt with one before. You know what I mean?
Well, I know, and also that's your prerogative as DM, right? You can always say this is a Harpy brood mistress.
Sure.
Now it's a CR5 Harpy, and it's got 100 hit points and a DC 20 charm.
Yeah.
And being that these are all working for a greater evil in this dungeon,
right?
Yeah.
They get special bonuses.
Yeah.
So now
I'm totally okay with that.
Important DM tip here. So this is a case where, again, Dave, D&D Beyond is going to confuse people, right? Because incapacitated means, oh, come on, there you go.
Can't take any action, bonus action.
Inaction. Can't take action, bonus action, reaction. Oh, you can move. I thought you couldn't move when you're incapacitated, so you can still move.
Yeah, which is it's the whole move towards them thing,
Yeah, that's what I thought that was actually going to be confusing because I thought you weren't able to move.
Same here, actually. Same here.
Interesting.
It breaks concentration. That's interesting too.
I mean, more important, it can't speak, which is nice.
Can't speak.
Can't speak, so you can't. Well, mostly.
Well, you couldn't cast anyway.
Well, you can't take an action,
actions.
so you can't.
Yeah,
cast.
Exactly.
Well, you can't even be like, "Hey, help me."
Help.
So Dave, the third thing on there is a mud bath. There was a giant mud bath.
So in the hallway, once you left that initial room, there was a pit of mud
in between the two rooms here. We have a mud bath.
And as you got further in, it got deeper and deeper to the point where it was the deepest in the middle. Initially, when I researched modules and traps and such, they wanted like an instant, like you're stuck and you can't do nothing, like nothing. And I was like, it's pretty brutal. So I made it, a strength save once you were broken out. Otherwise, you were just stuck. And then the Harpy just had your head to pick at, which was happening for quite a bit.
I got beat up a little bit. I was stable. I guess my hands were out. I was stable to cast a little bit. I was like, waist deep or neck deep or whatever.
I actually thought you guys would save pretty easily.
We do.
And initially you did.
Oh my god.
And then it was just failure. Next person came in failure. Next person came in failure. Like, oh, I think it was initial passing. Yeah. Or actually initial failing. Then Gil went in with a pass.
Gil passed.
And then failure, pass. Right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was horrible. So I had my big brain, my big hat on. So I put wax in my ears. I didn't have a candle. So he gave me +1 to the saving throw. So I needed a 14. That didn't help too much. I think I only had a +1 to the wisdom anyway. I'm smart, not wise. That was rough. That was absolutely rough. But we did manage to beat the Harpies up. We killed 2, drove 1 away. He went up.
Luckily, the cleric has a very unique ability to get rid of all the charm effects at the end.
We have a Twilight cleric. Scott, maybe a little more about that. Can you speak to that?
So when he uses his divine, whatever you call it now, his what used to be turn undead,
his channel divinity.
It creates an aura of twilight, and at the end of each character's turn, he can choose to either have them heal a little bit or remove charm effects on them.
Yeah, that was big. I think that saved us. I think they were beating us up pretty good.
He got to pull it off twice, and then he got charmed. And it went away.
well, that's just the point. So a Harpy charms you. You're immune for 24 hours, and then what happens? Dave's like, "Oh, the next Harpy does it." Sings and okay, Harpy number 2, I'm charmed from him. Oh, I broke that. Oh, Harpy number 3 sings. So each one is its own song. So the target's immune to the Harpy's luring song for 24 hours, but only from that source.
Right.
And that was rough too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Other than that, they just had the claw attacks.
Claw attacks. There was 3 of them, and they would swoop in, attack, and then swoop out to remain out of line of sight as much as possible. As you guys struggled to free your friends. That was fun.
Yeah, that was good. And we kind of left it there. 1 Harpy got away, and that was the end of this week's adventure.
Yeah. You left it there, ran out of time, unfortunately, and you guys did a quick search of the area, found some loot, and then you found a nice magical horn, a bard's horn.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the bard wasn't there to read it.
So, but Dave, you give him a horn that there's a 5% chance
you can pull it up.
He turns into bubbles and freaking basically dies. So why would you do that? Sounds horrible. Because 5% might not seem like a high percentage, but anybody who's played any role playing game,
I got it pulled up if you want to add it to.
Sure. Let's let me remove this other one here, and then
there it is.
That's. Oh, Dave, you're able to add directly. Scott, you can't add. Dave can, right? Okay. Yeah, the horn of bubbles. So there's a 5% chance that it backfires and sucks the ball through it, turning into bubbles. So 5%, that's a 1 in 20, or on percentage dice, 95 to 100. It seems low, but that actually is 5% is so high.
I like to add in very custom magic items in my campaign, so expect there to be a lot, and I'll probably put them a lot on here until we add them into D&D Beyond. Some of them you don't really need on your actual character sheet. It's just easier to maybe print up or whatever.
So what you're pulling up now is the world of Eryndor. That's the world Roy, Dave, and Scott are creating. So you have Greyhawk, we have the Forgotten Realms. And we're in the world of Eryndor. We started at Leon, which is in the bottom left there. We kind of went east to the crossroads. We went around the Thornwood Castle. Oh, we went past Thornwood Castle, crossroads, and then we went north to the Village of Hope, which is a major grain supplier of the city of Lyon. And I'm still kind of laughing that, like the grain, this is a major grain supplier. And we're in charge of basically saving. I mean, people like they're not having bread. They might be starving right now in Lyon. And we're like walking around a dungeon trying to get the wheat for everybody.
No, that's that goes into the politics of the campaign and what Dave's setting up, I think, because remember, we got sent here to get us out of the town, or it seems we got sent here like, I'll get these little rascals out of my hair for a couple of weeks because they got to walk to Hope, and it's a 3-week trip.
Yeah,
in the one higher up's mind, we're out of his hair for 6 weeks. Cool.
Yeah,
can't stir up any more trouble.
Yeah.
And then we talk to somebody else, and they're like, "Oh, we'll just teleport you there."
Yeah, thank God, because that was a long hike. But I am enjoying the fact that they're like the last campaign, Ravenloft, Barovia, Curse Strahd. It was one thing after the other. This one, it's like, okay, yeah, we'll walk for a couple weeks. Scott, you're working on a magic item, right? Like in that time, You're in the back of the cart, like scribing or something.
No, I'm working tailoring on a cloak.
Yeah, exactly. We can actually do that in between stuff.
Figuring that being portable as opposed to, like I'm not trying to smith something or something. I'm doing something I could just sit in a place and do.
Yeah.
So I'm using this as the merchant.
Okay. That's Hope.
In the room of the inn that you guys locked up. And then
that's right. Yeah.
This is the wizard with his
is that my ferret that's following me around?
It is.
So they're not the same. I thought maybe the ferret
that picture was in the same place.
No, exactly. they were in the same place at the beginning.
Okay.
You just never saw them leave the room at the same time.
That's the
mayor, the Lord.
And
then
I said mayor once. It was all over.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, that's the end of the slumbering serpent. Okay, speaking of serpents, that's actually a great lead-in. We'll take a step back. The week before, we're in the city of Hope. And people are being charmed, people are acting weird, the guard is under control, and we're really trying to figure out what's going on. So we went into one tavern, and it turns out, speaking of dungeons, there's a dungeon under the tavern, or maybe not so much of a dungeon, but there's a basement, and the walls are in the basement are carved out, and some of the carpenters, some of the woodworkers are actually carving under it. We found the evil temple. There's some Naga down there. There's a Naga statue. And we're talking about really like cultists now. So we did come across a scene where we came across a giant constrictor snake. And did you just pull that up, Dave?
Yes.
Is that you there? Okay. Let's go over the stats, and then I'll pull up a picture of. I have 2 pictures, but I want to see if I have an other image of the snake. Let's see here. Giant snakes. Let's go over. Let me pull up this one first. Okay. So we're exploring the dungeon, and I love the fact in the top of the picture, you can see that was the tavern basement. And then you put out this terrain. Dave, what terrain is this from?
That's the Warlock tiles.
The Warlock tile. I mean,
Warlock tiles cavern.
Warlock Tiles Cavern. Those are, I like them. I think they're awesome. The way you laid it out.
Yeah,
we just had a mat down, right? A kind of matching color mat. Come around the corner, and we see snakes. Now these are smaller snakes, right? These are not the constrictor.
Well, they're giant snakes, but they're not colossus size.
One funny point here, though: the monk, who is the same monk who walked face first into the gelatinous cube, snuck by this room of snakes, perfectly silently, and didn't notice they were there.
That was funny. Yeah, he's having actually. This might be Dave. This might be an ongoing issue that you have to make a note of. He's a
great scout, but he doesn't notice anything.
Yeah, he didn't notice the snakes. He didn't notice the cube. We have to start work that in the storyline. If he fails another time, that's going to be like his thing. Now the professor, which is playing a sorceress. What kind of magic do you have? What's the subset, Scott?
Divine Soul.
So you play Divine Soul sorceress, and you have a little quirk about snakes, right?
So I was writing my background, and I was like, I want to have something, an oddity. I want to have like a phobia. So I was like, you know what? Spiders, no, those are super common. So I wrote into my backstory that my younger brother had been killed by a snake a poisonous snake when we were out gathering herbs for our mother, and
Yep.
I couldn't save him, and that's part of what drove me towards healing arts.
Yep.
So I have a phobia of snakes, and everywhere we have gone have been goddamn snakes. And Dave's like, I didn't do this to you. This was all planned out beforehand.
It really was.
The
so funny.
There's a whole inn of snakes.
The inn is snakes. There's snakes in a dungeon, and the monk's magical tattoos happen to be snake tattoos.
Yeah.
Right. So that was pretty funny. And now, so we came across here, and we came around a corner, and we came to the giant constrictor snake. And now this snake was
the
actually,
marching order.
Yeah. So this snake was actually on the other side. I was in the back with the monk and the sorceress, and then me and the So I have a wizard, the wizard, and the bard. We end up reshuffling, moving, and I thought, Dave, you were going to use actual a dice. I don't have a dice over here, but you were going to use a die and be like, okay, you know what? This base is huge, but where this dice is a snake moving forward because it's long, can slither through the cavern. Sure. I did not know about the burrowing, and he was like, bloop! Oh, look, there's something soft in the back, right to the sorceress.
I basically had it so that there were multiple free tunnels around the place so he could get around.
Oh, okay, really? Really? You had it in your mind?
Yeah, so because I knew he was a big base, and I knew that you guys could lock him out, movement-wise enough because the tunnels are hard that you could just.
So by just adding burrowing to his stat line, you did that and it worked perfect.
Yeah, that too. I was like, well, without, I could say he just got burrowing, or I could say there's tunnels. Either way, it didn't really matter. No one saw it because no one was really looking for traps to see any of the holes in the ground anyway. So it worked out.
So let's add that as a dungeon master tip. I think this is really important. Here's the giant constrictor snake stat line. There's not a lot to it. Multi-attack, bite, constrict. Constrict's a big one.
Yeah.
Like you said, like Scott said, you can add burrowing. You could in your world, your snakes can burrow.
Right. So
I love that.
Dungeon master, you've got to look at your map and go, okay, this is a huge beast.
Yeah.
So it's got like a 60 millimeter base, basically. Like it's almost 3 inches or 4 inches wide.
Yeah.
It can't fit down a 20-foot hallway in a dungeon.
Yeah.
So you're going to trap your own monster, and the PC is going to be like, haha, we're going to run back and be 20 feet from the door, and you can't hurt us.
Yeah.
So now you give it burrowing, and there's some other rule that they give things that can fight in restricted spaces.
Yeah. And also, you guys kind of killed it fast, and it did grab one of you, and it was trying to restrict you. And
that was me.
Quick thinking. The other people used a lot of their pull and push attacks on their own party members to get them out of restrained.
Our cleric took telekinetic.
Yeah.
And his whole idea of telekinetic was I can save people from grapples, because grapples have become the metagaming idea. Grapples have become a huge part of the 2024 rules. It's very easy to do. It's brutal. And you need a way out. Like, I did not take Misty Step on purpose because, like every other character I've had has had it. I didn't take some specific spells, limiting myself a little bit just because I always take them. They're like the meta spell. Everyone takes Misty Step now. Everyone takes.
I appreciate that, and you could always take it later. Whatever.
Right? But I wanted to take, like, there was no reason for my character who grew up peacefully in a city to have Misty Step and Silvery Barbs.
Yeah.
Right? They're total adventurer spells, so to speak. So I didn't take them yet. I don't have shield. I don't have mage armor. It just didn't fit my character concept.
Yeah, exactly.
It's self-limiting, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. But in this case, he took that knowing that grapples are going to be a big deal, and it saved my character from the constriction, which is pretty brutal at +4.
I have this is a slightly customized creature because of the size and such, where it was going to be able to swallow you too.
Yeah, he said it.
Oh, you had a burrow and a swallow. So what would the swallow attack be? Was it a certain DC? Was it a opposed strength roll?
If I had you, constricted, I could then either bite or do a swallow. And if it's a swallow, I have to roll attack, and the target is swallowed.
Okay.
The grapple would end technically. The target then becomes blind and restrained. it has cover against attacks technically from being outside. But also you take 5d6 acid damage.
Yeah.
And then on each of the stakes turns.
Right, so that's
And
like
if you
18 points
do
around.
about 30 damage or 35 damage in a turn, it'll spit you out.
Right.
That's a
that's
lot.
two rounds kills one of the wizards or the sorcerers or the squishy characters, right?
Yeah. Do we have a spare the dying in our group, Scott?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we're low enough level that if we don't get to you, you take enough damage that you're kind of dead. Which is why your name is the dead professor, right? When the professor was killed by that vampire or ghoul, we couldn't get to you in time, and you took enough damage, you're just dead, and we didn't have a.
We missed it by a round because I rolled a 1 on the death save.
That's right. You had the double, and like there's that 5% we're talking about, right? Yep. It doesn't seem like a lot, but that 1 pops up more than you would expect.
That 1 pops up way more than the 0 to 5 does on percentage. I don't know why.
It's still 5%, right? It should
statistically dead the same, but
especially when Scott's rolling his death saves, it seems to be because Scott, you roll hot a lot. Although I gotta say
I roll hot or cold.
I gotta say with Dave last week or the week before. Dude, you were dropping 20s left and right. You're like,
I love it.
God, what the heck's going on? And then this week it was 1-1. We're like, oh, thank God.
You could blame Gil for that. I bought that from his shop, right?
On a weekly basis. You bought some new dice from his shop?
Oh man,
that was
it rolls like either 20s or below an 8.
Nice, yeah. So
that's why I started rolling my death saves in the middle of the table because nobody believed I was failing them.
Yeah, I mean, your death saves were so horrendous over the course of like the last 5 years.
Well, I believe that I believe that these the dice, it's not the different dice. I believe it's the areas of the table have like a different effect, like in reality. So I'll try to roll in front of me. I'll roll good. I stay there. If that rolls bad, I'll move my dice left or right or somewhere else on the table.
We have that whole theory on our
hot spot
on our Monday night game. We do the same thing. We're like, one person's not allowed to look at the dice. The other person's gotta have the DM's not allowed to look at the. It's so funny.
That's amazing. So we're gonna be at Long Island Tabletop April 5th and 6th at the Cradle of Aviation Museum in Garden City. We're gonna have a table there. We're gonna be vending dice. Speaking of dice, we're gonna be vending mostly miniatures. We 3D printed a lot. Me and Scott have been super busy on that. We're kind of happy with what's going on. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you'll want to subscribe and you come by the table and show us. You get a free mini owlbear or baby owlbear miniature. And then we'll be running Call of Cthulhu. This is the last year I'll run Call of Cthulhu. Our channel's really going to focus on Dungeons and Dragons. So next year, I think we're going to go back to the Daggerdale Food Festival. And I'm probably going to be test playing it a one-shot a few times. And I think, Scott, with your help, we're going to make that into an actual campaign. Or not a campaign, but I'd like to make it to a book at some point.
Full adventure, yeah.
A full adventure, but I'd like to make the Daggerdale Food Festival. I haven't really seen this in books too much that I bought. There are one-shots, but I think the one-shot should be adjustable 3, 4, and like 6 hours. So Cradle of Aviation has given us a 3-hour time slot. And nice. I was able to run in 3 hours, but I had to like change the adventure a little bit. So I'd like to have Dungeon Master tips like, okay, in 3 hours you can do these 3 things. But you might have another one, it's a 4-hour slot, and then you can like add one kind of like level or one more scene.
Yeah.
And then if you're doing a full one-shot, a 6-hour night where you're over your friend's house, then you could probably add maybe 2 more scenes. So I have 5 scenes total.
Yeah, 3 hours is a little tight.
It is a little tight. But I like to have that adventure that you could do it, 3, 4, or 6 hours. And I think that I'd like to have a bunch of adventures like that. Because how long do our sessions usually run at night? We start at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're doing 4?
Yeah, we start. I mean, we show up at 7. We don't really start till like 7:30, 7:40.
Yeah.
So 3 to 3.5 to 4 hours on a good night. But 3 hours is fine if everyone's moving along. 4 hours just allows it a little more. Maybe you could allow RP a little bit.
It's different if you have a group at home. You're playing online. You're playing at your home group. You can do 3, 4 hours. But if you're at a convention, like you're locked in. Like pack it up, and you kind of sometimes want to see the end of it or have a little closure.
Or you don't want to be sitting at one table for 4 hours during a convention, and 3 hours is more convenient. So I get that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, baby owlbear's up there, right? If you want to show it.
Oh yeah, let's check that out. Let's see here. We have the we had that. Oh, nice. That's nice. Let me remove this
Oh,
banner
nice.
so we can see it. Yeah, that's the baby owl bear would be given out. That's a good shot. I like that.
It's great.
Yeah. So if you could email me that picture, Scott, I'm
Yep.
gonna put it on the card, and then I have bags and stuff we can bag it up. So yeah, that's a good one. I kind of want to paint that myself.
Yeah,
Baby
I
owl
gotta
bear.
get one of Bob's.
Yeah. And we're selling big owl bears. We got a couple
Bears,
versions, right?
GB owl bears.
GB owl bears, lots of stuff. So yeah, so if anybody watching is around the Cradle of Aviation, April 5th and 6th, it's a great show. Board games, ton of role playing games, not just D&D. There's Call of Cthulhu. There's some games for kids. They actually have a unpublished game section this year.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep. I mean, I'm working on a game myself, and we'll have to sit down with you guys to help me. But
Funny you say that. I'm actually working on building a one-shot type of adventure myself.
okay, let's all sit down and brainstorm. Sounds good. So, sounds good. All right. Oh, that's great. That's our Sunday morning Dungeons and Dragons chat. We're going to try to do this every Sunday morning. So if you guys can jump on and follow us, we appreciate it. And I guess Sunday mornings, it's going to be monsters we fought last week. And if we don't have that, it's just going to be kind of, going over some rules, dungeon master tips, or really anything
related. Maybe interview other DMs or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. So
we're going to do a tour of the game room one week, Roy.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Well, let's get some content on that.
Oh yeah, we could spend an hour in there easily.
Yeah. So, all right, gentlemen. I hope you enjoy your Sunday, and I hope all you adventurers out there have plenty of time to play some games this week.
Take care.
Have a good day.
Have a good one.